I later learned why even Gandalf the Grey ran from that thing. Why a wizard who would fight a Balrog for 10 days, who would stand against the terror of the ancient world, chose to flee into Moria rather than face that horror. Because what lives there is far worse than any Balrog. It has to be. I should have known better. Should have walked away when Garth laid that map on the tavern table. Should have laughed it off, called it what it was, a fool's dream, a drunk's fantasy, a path to ruin. But I didn't. I looked at that faded parchment, at the crude drawings, at the promise of wealth beyond imagining, and I wanted it. Wanted it enough to ignore every instinct screaming that this was wrong, that this would end badly, that some treasures are guarded for good reason. My name is Edric. I am a carpenter from Tharbad. Or I was. Before the expedition, before the lake, before I learned what waits in dark when greedy men come seeking what is not theirs. This is what happened at that cursed place. This is what hunts in the mountains. This is why no one should ever seek the western gate of Moria. No one believes me. Think I am mad. A liar. A murderer. Maybe they are right. Maybe I am mad. Because what I saw, what I watched, what I heard. No sane mind should carry those memories. No man should have to remember watching his friends die like that. Screaming. Begging. Looking at me with eyes that pleaded for help I could not give. But I remember. Every detail, every second, every scream. It started with a game of dice. Stupid. Meaningless. The kind of gambling that happens in taverns every night across Middle-earth. Men drinking, wagering, winning, losing. Nothing that should change lives. Nothing that should lead to death. Garth was winning. He always won. Had a gift for dice, for cards, for any game that involved chance and nerve. He was up 20 silver, 30, 40. The other man was drunk, desperate, running out of coin. "I've got something better than silver," the drunk said, fumbling in his coat, pulling out a rolled parchment, yellow with age, stained, torn at the edges. A map, genuine dwarf-made, shows a secret entrance to their vaults, a hidden door where they kept their greatest treasures. Gold, gems, mithril, worth a kingdom. Garth laughed. "A map to dwarf gold? That's the oldest con in the book. I'll pass." "It's real," the drunk insisted, voice rising, getting defensive, getting desperate. "My grandfather got it from a dwarf, a real dwarf, in Bree, 70 years ago. The dwarf was dying, gave it to him, said it showed the western gate of Khazad-dûm, said there was a vault there, a secret place, where they hid their wealth when the darkness came, when they had to flee. They left everything, everything." "Khazad-dûm fell 500 years ago," I said quietly, speaking for the first time. "If there was treasure there, someone would have found it by now." "No one looks," the drunk said, leaning forward, breathing wine-soaked breath. "Everyone's afraid. The place is cursed, they say. Haunted. Things live there now. Things that shouldn't exist. But that's just stories. Just fear keeping people away. The gold is there. Waiting. For someone brave enough. Smart enough. Greedy enough to claim it." Garth looked at the map. Then at me. Then at Aldrich. Our third companion. The strongest of us. The most adventurous. The one who never turned down a challenge, who lived for risk, for danger, for the thrill of doing what others feared. "What do you think?" Garth asked. "I think it's probably nothing," Aldrich said slowly, but his eyes were bright, interested, already calculating, already imagining. "But if it's real, if there's even a chance, that's worth investigating. That's worth a week of our time." "It's 3 days' ride," the drunk said. Maybe 4, through safe country, no bandits, no orcs. Easy journey. You find the door, you open it, you take what's inside. Simple. And if there's nothing inside? I asked, already knowing the answer, already seeing how this would go, already feeling the wrongness of it. Then you've wasted a week and some supplies. But if there is something, if the vault is real, the drunk's eyes gleamed. Mad eyes, desperate eyes, eyes that had seen this map, had thought about following it, had chosen to sell it instead because... Why? What did he know? What had stopped him? You'll be richer than kings, richer than the lords of Gondor, set for life, all 3 of you. Garth looked at the map again, running his fingers over the parchment, over the promise, over the trap. Final wager, your map against my 40 silver. I win, I keep the coin, and you keep your map. You win, you take the silver, and we take the map. Fair? The drunk nodded. Too quickly, too eagerly, like he wanted to lose, like he wanted someone else to have this map, this curse, this doom. They rolled. Garth won. He always won. The drunk cursed, but there was something in his face. Relief? Fear? Pity? He slammed the map down, staggered toward the door, then stopped, looked back. Don't go at night, he said. Whatever you do, don't be there at night. The water is worse at night. Then he left, into the rain, into the darkness, and we never saw him again. We sat there, 3 friends, looking at a piece of old parchment, at crude drawings of mountains and valleys, and a small symbol that might have been a door, or might have been nothing, or might have been a warning we were too foolish to understand. We should go, Edric said. At least look. See if there's anything there. See if it's real. It's not real, I said. It's a drunk's fantasy, a con. There's no vault, no treasure, just mountains and stone and disappointment. But what if there is? Garth said, voice quiet, thoughtful, already hooked, already caught, already thinking about gold, about wealth, about everything he could do with a fortune. What if? Just what if? That possibility, that hope, it killed them, both of them, and destroyed me, left me alive but broken, ruined, carrying memories and nightmares and guilt that will never fade. We left 3 days later, bought supplies, horses, equipment. Garth brought rope and climbing gear. Edric brought axes and hammers and wedges and chisels, tools for breaking stone, for forcing doors, for taking what we wanted, what we thought we deserved. I brought dwarf fire, small charges, explosive powder that the dwarves had supposedly used for mining, for breaking stubborn rock, dangerous, unstable, but effective if used correctly, deadly if used wrong. If there was a locked door, if there was treasure behind it, we would need a way through. The journey started well. Good weather, good roads. The map was surprisingly accurate, led us through valleys and over hills exactly as marked. Every landmark matched, every turn correct, every distance precise. Maybe that should have encouraged us, proved the map was real, proved the vault existed, proved we were on the right path. But it just made me nervous, made me wonder. If this map was accurate, if the location was real, if the directions were correct, why hadn't anyone else followed it? Why hadn't the vault been found and emptied centuries ago? What had stopped them? What had killed them? What waited at the end of this path? Because they were afraid, Edric said, when I voiced my concerns on the second night. We were camped in a pleasant valley, stars bright overhead, fire warm, everything normal, everything safe. Because people believe the stories, the curses, the darkness. But we're not afraid. We're practical. We'll take what's there and leave. Simple. The drunk said don't go at night, I reminded him. Said the water is worse at night. Why would he say that? What did he know? Old superstitions, Garth replied, studying the map by firelight. Every treasure has stories. Every ruin has ghosts. It's how people explain why they didn't get rich, why they turned back, why they failed. It's easier to blame curses than admit you were too scared or too weak. Maybe. Or maybe the stories were warnings. Truth wrapped in fear. Reality that sounded too horrible to believe. The third day, the landscape changed, subtly at first, then obviously. The grass died, became brown, then grey, then just gone. Bare earth, bare stone, nothing growing, nothing living, like the land itself was dead, poisoned, corrupted by proximity to... what? The mountains, the lake, the thing that waited. The trees became twisted, stunted, their branches reaching like clawed hands, their trunks bent, deformed, wrong, like they were trying to grow away from something, trying to escape, trying to flee and failing because trees cannot run. The birds disappeared, first fewer, then none. Just silence, empty air, no sound except wind and our horses' hooves on stone, and our own breathing that seemed too loud, too obvious, too much like prey announcing itself to predators. This is strange, Garth said, looking around, seeing what I was seeing, feeling what I was feeling. The map didn't mention this wrongness. Maybe we should turn back, I suggested. Find a different way, or just accept this isn't worth it. Accept that some treasures aren't meant to be found. We're almost there, Edric said, pointing ahead, at mountains, at a cleft between peaks, at shadow that seemed too dark, too deep, too hungry. That has to be it, that valley, just like the map. We've come this far. We finish it. The horses didn't want to go forward, started pulling against the reins, whinnying, showing whites of eyes. Animals know. They sense things we can't. They understand what we ignore. That this was a bad place, a wrong place, a place where the natural order had been broken, corrupted, replaced with something else, something older, something that should not be. But we forced them, pushed them, made them carry us forward into that wrongness, into that silence, into that valley that felt like a throat, like we were being swallowed, consumed by the landscape itself before we even reached what waited at its heart. We found the lake an hour before sunset. It was exactly as the map showed, a dark pool, perfectly still, surrounded by stone, cliffs rising on 3 sides, and on the 4th side, the western side, rock face, smooth, carved, not a natural, dwarf-made, and there, in the center of that rock face, faint markings, lines, designs, a door, hidden, sealed, but visible if you knew where to look, if you were searching for it, if you were foolish enough to want to find it. "By the Valor," Edric whispered, voice filled with awe, with greed, with terrible certainty. "It's real. The map was real. There is a door. There is treasure. We're going to be rich. We're going to be rich." The horses refused to go closer, pulled, fought, nearly threw us. We had to dismount, leave them as far from the lake as possible, tie them to rocks, to dead trees, to anything that would hold them. They kept trying to bolt, to run, to escape, like they knew, like they understood better than we did what we were walking toward. We approached on foot, walking carefully around the lake, staying away from the water. It was black, perfectly black. Couldn't see the bottom, couldn't see anything beneath the surface. Just darkness, infinite darkness, like the lake had no bottom, like it went down forever, like it connected to. Somewhere else. Somewhere deep. Somewhere wrong. The water didn't move, didn't ripple, didn't show any sign of current or wind or life. Just still. Like glass. Like a mirror, reflecting the sky, reflecting the mountains, reflecting us. 3 men approaching. 3 fools. 3 doomed souls walking toward their deaths and calling it treasure hunting. And the smell. God's the smell. Not rot, exactly. Not decay. Something else. Something worse. Like deep water that has never seen sun. Like things that live in darkness. Like ancient. Ancient. Wrong. The smell made my stomach turn. Made me want to gag. Made me want to run. But I didn't. Because I wanted the gold, too. Wanted it enough to ignore every warning, every instinct, every sign that we should leave. The door was magnificent. Even, sealed and ancient and weathered by 500 years of abandonment. You could see the craftsmanship, the skill, dwarf work, real dwarf work, not human imitation, not cheap copies. The real thing. It held in inlay, showing faint designs in the fading light. Trees, stars, moon, and words in dwarf runes that none of us could read. That probably said, what? Warning? Danger? Stay away, or just the name of what lay beyond. The identification of the vault, the promise of wealth that would kill for. How do we open it? I asked, studying the door, looking for handles, for locks, for mechanisms, finding nothing, just smooth stone, just those faint, glowing markings, just silence and sealed stone and the promise of treasure beyond. Maybe it's a riddle, Garth suggested, running his hands over the surface, searching, feeling. Dwarves love riddles. Maybe you have to say the right word, know the right phrase, speak friend and enter, that sort of thing. We tried. Every dwarf word we knew, every phrase. Friend, open, gold, enter. Khazad Dum, Moria. Nothing worked. The door remained sealed, silent, mocking our attempts, laughing at us, at our ignorance, at our greed, at our doom. Break it, Edric said. Voice harder now, more determined, more obsessed. Already? This quickly? We have axes, we have hammers, we can force it, we can break through, we can make it open. Dwarf doors don't break, Garth replied, shaking his head. Still rational, still thinking, still himself. They're made to last millennia, made to resist armies, made to withstand siege engines. You'd need, I don't know, dragons, magic, something we don't have. We can't break a dwarf door with hand tools. Then we use the dwarf fire, Edric said, looking at me, at my pack, at the charges I had brought, at the explosive that might work, that might crack what couldn't be broken. We blow it, set charges around the edges, around the frame, crack the seal, force it open, take what's ours. What's ours? Already he was thinking of it as ours, as belonging to us, as something we had earned, deserved, had a right to, not as theft, not as grave robbing, not as desecration of dwarf tombs, just ours. Because we found it, because we wanted it, because greed justified everything. That's dangerous, I said. Dwarf fire is unstable, unpredictable. If we use too much, we could bring the whole cliff down. If we use too little, it won't work. And we only have 4 charges, 4 attempts. If they don't work, we're done. We go home empty-handed. They'll work, Edric said. Voice certain, confident, already lost to the greed, already gone to the obsession. They have to work, because there's treasure behind this door. I can feel it, can sense it. This is a vault, a real vault. And we're going to open it. We're going to take everything. We're going to be rich. The way he said rich. The hunger in it. The need. The desperation. It should have warned me, should have told me he was already too far gone, already consumed by greed, already belonging more to this place than to the world of sanity and reason and survival. I looked at the door, at the dark lake, at the silence, at the wrongness of this place, at the way nothing lived here, nothing grew here, nothing came here except fools, and I wanted to leave, wanted to mount my horse, wanted to ride away, wanted to forget this map, this expedition, this doom. But I didn't, because I wanted the gold too, not as badly as Edric, not with that desperate hunger, but enough. Enough to stay. Enough to ignore the warnings, enough to help them try to open that door. We made camp, away from the lake, as far away as the valley allowed, decided to try opening the door in the morning, when we were rested, when we could work carefully, when we had light. That night I couldn't sleep. None of us could. We lay in our bedrolls, staring at the sky, at the stars that seemed dimmer here, fainter, like even they were afraid to shine too brightly, like even celestial light feared this place. I kept watching the lake. The surface never moved, never rippled, never showed any sign of life or current or wind. Just still, like glass, like a mirror, like death, reflecting everything, revealing nothing. And I heard things, faint, distant, maybe imagination, maybe real, hard to tell. Splashing? No, not splashing. Breathing, maybe? Like something large was exhaling, slowly, deliberately, just beneath the surface, just out of sight, just there. I told myself I was imagining it, being paranoid, being foolish, but I wasn't. Something lived in that lake, something massive, something ancient, something that had been here long before the dwarves, that would be here long after we were dead, that was patient, so patient, waiting for us to do whatever triggered it, whatever woke it, whatever made us pray instead of just curiosities, annoyances, potential meals that hadn't yet earned being eaten. Morning came grey and cold. We ate quickly, barely speaking. The excitement of yesterday had faded, replaced by tension, by nervousness, by awareness that we were doing something dangerous, something wrong, something that might kill us. But the greed remained, especially in Edric. I could see it in his eyes, in the way he looked at the door, like he was already counting the gold, already imagining what he would do with his wealth, already planning a future built on treasure we hadn't found, might never find, that might not exist. "Let's do this," he said, voice tight, eager, hungry. "Set the charges, blow the door, get inside, get rich." We approached the door carefully, studying it in morning light, looking for weak points, for places where the seal might be compromised, for anywhere the stone might be damaged or cracked or vulnerable. We found nothing. The door was perfect, untouched by time, unmarked by weather, like it had been sealed yesterday instead of 5 centuries ago. Like dwarf craft existed outside normal decay, outside entropy, outside everything that wore at mortal works. We placed dwarf fire around the doorframe, small charges, carefully positioned around the edges, where stone met stone, where the door met the frame, connected by fuses, measured, timed, planned to detonate simultaneously. We retreated, behind rocks, away from the blast, covered our ears, lit the fuses, watched them burn, spark, raced toward the charges. The explosion was enormous, deafening, the sound echoing through the valley, through the mountains, shaking the ground beneath our feet, making the horses scream, making the lake ripple, just slightly, just for a moment, like something beneath had noticed, had been disturbed, had woken. When the smoke cleared, we saw the door, untouched, unmarked, not even scorched, like we had set off fireworks instead of explosives, like the dwarf craft was laughing at us, mocking us, telling us we were insects. Nothing. Powerless against their works, against their skill, against their eternally sealed doors. Again, Edric said. Not disappointed, not discouraged, just more determined, more obsessed, more certain. Use more. Use 2 charges at once. More power, more force. It has to work. It has to. We only have 2 charges left, I protested, voice rising. If this doesn't work, we're done. We should think about leaving, about accepting this isn't going to work, about going home. No, Edric said, sharply, angrily, like I had suggested something obscene. No, we don't give up. We don't quit. We're so close. So close. The treasure is right there, right behind that stone. We just need more power, more explosive. We use both charges. We blow this door open. We take what's ours. There it was again. Ours. Like we owned it. Like we deserved it. Like this was justice instead of theft. Right instead of wrong. Our due instead of our doom. Garth looked uncertain. Edric. Maybe Edric is right. Maybe we should. This doesn't feel right. This whole place doesn't feel right. And that lake, did you see it ripple when the charges went off? Like something felt it. So what? Edric snapped. So the explosion made waves. Water does that. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't change anything. We came here for treasure. We found the door. We're opening it. That's final. We set the final charges, both of them. Double the power, double the force, double the risk. Positioned them carefully, aimed at the same spot. The place where the crack from the first explosion had... Wait, crack? I looked closer. There, hairline, barely visible, running from top to bottom of the door frame. Not the door itself, but the stone around it, the mountain holding it. Look, I said, pointing. The first explosion did something, cracked the frame, the stone around the door. If we hit it again, same spot. Maybe it will work. Edric's eyes lit up. Yes. Set both charges there, right at that crack. We split the stone. We break the seal. We win. We positioned them, retreated further, much further. This would be bigger, louder, more dangerous. We lit the fuses, covered our ears, watched. The explosion was massive, blinding. Stone chips flying hundreds of feet. Dust everywhere. Smoke so thick we couldn't see, couldn't breathe, couldn't tell if it had worked, couldn't tell if we had won or failed or died. When it cleared, when we could see again, the door was cracked, damaged, a gap, small gap, between the door and the frame. Not open, not broken through, but damaged, wounded, compromised. We did it, Edric breathed. We cracked it. We damaged dwarf work. We hurt it. Now we force it. We wedge it. We hammer it. We open it. We're out of dwarf fire, I said. Voice hollow, already knowing what he would say, already seeing the madness in his eyes, already understanding that we wouldn't leave. Couldn't leave. Not now. Not when we were so close. So terribly, fatally close. We use axes, Edric said. We use hammers. We use wedges and chisels and our own hands if we have to. We force that gap wider. We break through. We get inside. We take the treasure. We finish this. Garth looked at me. I saw doubt in his eyes. Fear, uncertainty, but also hope, greed, desire. He wanted to leave. Part of him wanted to leave. But another part, the part that had looked at that map and seen wealth, that had ridden 3 days imagining gold, that had invested time and effort and risk, that part couldn't walk away, couldn't accept failure, couldn't leave without knowing, without seeing, without trying. 1 hour, Garth said. Compromise. Middle ground. We try for 1 hour. If we can't widen the gap, can't get through, we leave. We accept we failed. We ride home. Agreed? Agreed, I said immediately, hoping, praying, that 1 hour wouldn't be enough, that the door would resist, that we would fail and leave and survive. Agreed, Edric said. But his eyes said he was lying, said he wouldn't leave, said he would die here before giving up, before walking away from his gold, his treasure, his doom. We got the axes, the hammers, the wedges. We approached the door, started working, hitting the crack, trying to widen it, to force it, to break through dwarf craft that was already damaged, already wounded, already dying but not yet dead. The sound of metal on stone echoed across the lake, rang out, loud, obvious, announcing our presence, our intent, our greed, telling whatever lived in that black water that we were here, that we were trying to take something, that we were worth, attention, worth, stopping, worth, eating. We worked for an hour, the sun climbing overhead, the shadows shifting, our hands blistering, our arms aching, our tools chipping and breaking against stone that refused to yield fully, that gave inches, small inches, tiny progress that felt like victory but was just delay, postponement, making us stay longer, making us vulnerable longer, making us prey. And the lake never moved, never rippled again. But I felt, watching. Something was watching, from below, from the darkness, from depths that should be impossible in a mountain pool, from somewhere that wasn't quite here, that connected to elsewhere, to deep places, dark places, places where things lived that shouldn't exist. Time's up, I said when the hour passed, when my hands were bloody, when my arms wouldn't lift anymore, when I couldn't pretend we were making progress. We tried, we failed, we leave. No, Edric said. Not angry, just certain. We're making progress. Look, the gap is wider. We can almost see inside, almost see what's there. We keep going. You agreed, Garth said. 1 hour, that was the deal. It's been an hour. We leave. I'm not leaving, Edric said flatly. You can go if you want. But I'm staying. I'm finishing this. I'm getting inside that door. We argued, there on the shore of that cursed lake, while something listened, while something watched, while something decided that we were no longer just curious, no longer just annoying, no longer just potential. We were prey now, and it was time to feed. It happened fast, too fast to process, too fast to react, too fast to do anything except scream. Garth was closest to the water, working a wedge into the crack, concentrating, not watching behind him, not seeing what I saw, what made my blood freeze, what made me want to scream, but my voice had stopped working. Ripples, small ripples, moving toward shore, toward Garth, toward the man hammering a dwarf stone while death approached from behind, from below, from the black water that had been still for hours, for days, for years, until now. Garth, I whispered, then louder. Garth, stop, look behind you, look at the water. He stopped, turned, saw the ripples. What is that? Fish? Not fish. Nothing that simple. Nothing that innocent. Nothing that natural. A tentacle, thick as my leg, grey-green, covered in. Texture. Wrong texture. Like scales but not scales. Like skin but not skin. Like nothing I had ever seen. Like nothing that should exist outside nightmares. Rising, out of the water, onto the stone, reaching, searching, questing for him. Run! Edric shouted, finally seeing, finally understanding, finally afraid. "Garth, run! Run now!" Garth ran, dropped his tools, sprinted, away from the water, away from that reaching tentacle, away from death that moved slowly, deliberately, without rush, without concern, like it knew we couldn't really escape, knew this was play, practice, prelude to the real hunt. But more appeared. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, rising from the lake, different sizes, different lengths, all that same wrong color, that same wrong texture, that same horrible, alive, quality, like muscle, like flesh, like something that was both plant and animal and neither, that existed outside classification, outside nature, outside reason. They moved, not randomly, coordinated, searching, finding. Garth's tools, the hammer, the wedge, the chisel, wrapping around them, testing them, feeling them, then pulling into the water, gone, disappeared beneath that black surface, dragged down to... What? The creature? The thing? The horror that waited below? We stood there, 20 feet from the shore, breathing hard, staring at the water, at the place where those tentacles had been, where they still were, under the surface. We couldn't see them, but we knew they were there, knew something massive was there, something with many tentacles, many limbs, many ways to reach, to grab, to pull, to take. What? What was that? Garth gasped. What in the name of all gods was that? Something that lives in the water, I said, voice shaking, terror finally catching up, finally making my hands tremble, my knees weak. Something big, something dangerous, something that wants us gone, or wants us dead, or wants us. We need to leave, now, right now, before it comes back. It's a guardian, Edric said, not frightened, not horrified, almost, excited, vindicated, certain. Don't you see? It's a guardian. The dwarves put it there, to protect the treasure, to keep thieves away, to guard the vault, that proves there's something valuable behind that door, something worth guarding with whatever that thing is, something worth more than we imagined. I stared at him, at my friend, at the man I had known for years, and saw madness, complete madness. The greed had taken him, fully, totally. He couldn't see danger anymore, couldn't process threat, couldn't understand that we were being hunted, that we were prey, that this thing wasn't a guardian placed by dwarves. It was something else, something older, something that lived here before the dwarves, that would live here after, that had nothing to do with treasure and everything to do with hunger and patience and ancient evil. Or, I said slowly, carefully, trying to reach him, trying to make him hear. Or that thing just lives here, and there's nothing behind the door, nothing worth this, nothing worth dying for, and we're risking our lives for nothing. There's treasure, Edric insisted, voice rising, getting angry, getting defensive. I know it, I can feel it, can sense it. We just have to deal with that thing, keep it away, kill it if we have to. Then we can finish opening the door. Kill it? Garth said, voice cracking. Edric, that thing is. We don't even know what it is, how big it is, how many tentacles it has, how strong it is. We can't kill something we can't see, can't fight something we don't understand. We can try, Edric said. In the morning, with light, with preparation. We get spears, long poles. We stay away from the water. We attack if it comes close. We defend ourselves. We're not helpless. We're not defenseless. We can fight. We can win. We argued for hours as the sun set, as darkness came, as that cursed lake became even more wrong in moonlight, even more terrible in shadow. even more obviously home to something that should not be. Garth and I wanted to leave, wanted to mount our horses, wanted to ride away, to accept that some doors stay sealed, that some treasures are not worth the price, that survival matters more than gold. But Aldrich wouldn't listen, couldn't hear us. The greed had him now, had taken root in his mind, had grown into obsession, into madness, into something that wouldn't let him leave, wouldn't let him accept failure, wouldn't let him walk away from the promise of wealth, even if that promise was a lie, a trap, a death sentence. We made camp, far from the water, far as the valley allowed, with the fire between us and the lake, taking turns watching, making sure nothing approached, nothing reached for us in the darkness, nothing came while we slept. But I knew it would come, knew it was only a matter of time, knew that thing in the lake was patient, so patient. But eventually it would decide we had annoyed it enough, threatened it enough, existed enough. And then it would feed. I volunteered for last watch, wanted to see the dawn, wanted to be awake, alert, ready when it came. It came just before dawn, that grey time, when night is ending but day hasn't begun, when shadows are deepest, when the world is caught between darkness and light, when things that live in deep water feel brave enough to surface, to hunt, to feed. I saw ripples, many ripples, coming from everywhere, from all over the lake, not just one point, not just one approach, many, dozens, from every direction, surrounding, encircling, cutting off escape, herding us, like wolves, like pack hunters, like something that understood tactics, strategy, how to kill things smarter than itself. "Aldrich!" I screamed. "Garth! Wake up! It's coming now!" They woke, confused, disoriented, saw me pointing, saw the water, saw tentacles, dozens of tentacles, scores of them, rising from the lake, all around us, reaching toward shore, toward our camp, toward us. Aldrich scrambled up, grabbed his axe, ready to fight, ready to defend, ready to... What? Cut tentacles? Kill a thing we couldn't even see fully? Couldn't comprehend? Couldn't hope to defeat? Garth grabbed his sword, moved beside me, the three of us forming a rough circle, backs together, watching tentacles reach, touch shore, pull, the thing, the creature, the horror, pulling itself, partway out of the water. We saw a body, a mass, central mass, bigger than a wagon, bigger than a house, maybe bigger than anything, grey-green, glistening, wet, covered in eyes? No, not eyes. Orbs. Watching orbs. Sensing orbs. All over its surface. Dozens of them. Watching us. All of them. Seeing us from every angle. Every direction. Knowing us. Understanding us. Choosing. Who first? Who would scream loudest? Who would taste best? Who would die slowest? And tentacles. So many tentacles. 30, 40, 50. Impossible to count. Impossible to track. They moved independently, reached in different directions, searched, hunted, grabbed. One caught Aldrich's ankle, wrapped, pulled, fast, so fast, he fell, hard, hitting stone, his head bouncing, his axe flying from his grip, clattering away, sliding, out of reach. "Help!" he screamed. "Help me! Help!" Garth and I ran, grabbed his arms, pulled, trying to drag him away, trying to break the grip of that tentacle. But it was strong, impossibly strong. It pulled back, harder than we could pull, stronger than both of us combined, dragging Aldrich, inch by inch, toward the water, toward the lake, toward that mass, that body, that horror. More tentacles reached, wrapped around his legs, his waist, his chest, binding him, covering him, pulling him faster now, away from us, away from safety, away from life, toward death, toward consumption, toward horror beyond imagining. "The axe!" Garth screamed. "Get the axe! Cut him free!" I ran, grabbed it, swung, hit the tentacle around Aldric's ankle. The blade bit, cut, deep, through that wrong flesh, that unnatural tissue, black blood. Ichor, something wrong, something that smelled like deep ocean, like the bottom of the world, like places where light never reaches, like corruption, like ancient evil, like death. The tentacle loosened, just slightly, just enough. Aldric pulled, kicked, broke free. Of that one, but others held, others bound, others dragged. He was being pulled, inexorably, inevitably, certainly, toward the thing, toward the mouth, toward... oh gods, toward the mouth. Garth grabbed another tentacle, pulled, trying to break its grip, but it just wrapped around his arm, his shoulder, binding him too, taking him too, making him victim instead of rescuer, making him prey. He screamed, let go, pulled back. The tentacle held, wouldn't release, started dragging him toward the water, toward the thing, toward death. I swung the axe, again, cutting, black blood flying, tentacles loosening, but not enough. Never enough. For every one I cut, 3 more appeared. For every moment we gained, we lost 2. We were losing badly, losing everything. Aldric was lifted, high, 50 feet into the air, 60, higher, held by multiple tentacles, multiple limbs. The thing, the watcher, the creature from the lake, its body rising further, showing more of itself, more mass, more tentacles, more wrongness that shouldn't exist. That defied nature. That came from somewhere else, somewhere ancient, somewhere terrible, somewhere that belonged in nightmares, not reality. Garth pulled free, finally, leaving skin on that tentacle, leaving blood, leaving pieces of himself, but free. He scrambled back, away from the water, away from the reaching, away from Aldric, who screamed, who begged, who looked at us with eyes that pleaded, that accused, that asked why. Why weren't we helping? Why weren't we saving him? Why were we abandoning him? And then, the mouth, opening, at the top of that mass, where the tentacles met, where the body centered. A mouth, circular, ringed with teeth, thousands of teeth, millions of teeth, rows and rows and rows, spiraling inward, disappearing into darkness, into a throat that led to... what? A stomach? Void? Hell? Just hunger given form and depth and eternal need. The mouth lowered, took his legs. He screamed, louder, the kind of scream that strips your throat, that damages your vocal cords, that comes from terror so pure it burns everything else away. The kind of scream that haunts, that echoes, that never stops no matter how much time passes. The teeth weren't cutting, weren't tearing. They were grinding, crushing, breaking. I could hear his bones, hear them snap, crack, splinter, under the pressure of those teeth, of that mouth, of that horror that was consuming him slowly, deliberately, enjoying it, savoring it, making it last. His eyes found mine, held mine. He was conscious, aware, feeling everything, every tooth, every break, every moment of his legs being crushed, being ground, being consumed while he lived, while he felt, while he knew exactly what was happening. The mouth took more, his waist, his chest, his stomach, the grinding continuing, his screams becoming wet, gurgling, choking, as internal organs were crushed, as blood filled his lungs, as his body broke from the inside out. His eyes never left mine, not until the mouth took his shoulders, his neck, his face, his head, until those eyes disappeared into that mouth, into that throat, into that darkness, gone, consumed, dead or dying or suffering in ways I couldn't imagine. couldn't comprehend, couldn't allow myself to think about. Then the mouth closed, the tentacles withdrew, the body lowered, back into the water. Slowly, sinking, disappearing, until just the tip, the top, remained visible, just below the surface, watching, waiting, patient, satisfied, for now. I stood there, frozen, staring, at the place where Edric, where my friend, where? I couldn't think, couldn't move, couldn't process what I had just seen, the horror of it, the wrongness, the absolute nightmare of watching someone die like that, slowly, consciously, painfully, aware of every moment, every second, every tooth. "We need to leave," Garth whispered, voice broken, shattered, destroyed. "We need to leave now, right now, before it comes back, before it takes us too. Before... Yes, I managed. My voice didn't sound like mine, sounded like someone else. Someone traumatized, someone broken. "Yes, we leave, we get the horses, we ride, we never come back, never speak of this, never..." The door. I turned, stared. "What?" "The door," Garth repeated, looking at it, at the crack we had made, at the treasure that might be behind it, at the obsession that had already killed Edric. "We can't leave, not now, not after. After him. We have to finish it, have to get inside, have to make his death mean something, have to. His voice was wrong. His eyes were wrong. The greed had him now too, had jumped from Edric's corpse, had infected Garth, had taken root in the space where sanity used to be, had grown into the same obsession, the same madness, the same doom. "His death means we should run," I said, voice rising, desperate. That thing, Garth! It ate him, slowly, while he was alive, while he was conscious, while he looked at us and begged for help. "And you want to stay? You want to keep trying to open that door?" "He died for this," Garth said, eyes fixed on the door, on the crack, on the promise, on the lie. "He died believing there was treasure. We can't just walk away, can't make his death meaningless, can't leave without knowing, without seeing. We open the door, we see what's inside, then we leave. But we have to finish it. Have to. For him. For Edric." "You're mad," I said flatly. "The greed, it has you, just like it had him. You can't see, can't understand. There's nothing behind that door worth this, nothing worth dying for. Nothing." "You don't know that," Garth said, voice harder, angrier. "You can't know that. Not until we open it. Not until we see. And I have to see. Have to know. Have to..." He stopped, but I understood. The same sickness, the same disease, the same greed madness that had killed Edric was now killing Garth, consuming him, making him its puppet, making him its victim, making him its next meal. I tried. Gods, I tried. For 2 hours I argued, pleaded, begged, tried everything to make him leave, to make him see reason, to save him from himself, from his greed, from his doom. Nothing worked. He couldn't hear me, wouldn't hear me. The obsession had him completely. He could only see the door, the crack, the promise, the treasure that probably didn't exist. "I'm leaving," I finally said, voice dead, defeated. "I'm getting my horse, I'm riding away, and I'm never coming back. You should come with me. Please, Garth, please come with me." He looked at me for just a moment, just one impossible moment. I saw my friend, the real Garth, the man I had known, the man I trusted, fighting, struggling, trying to break free of the greed, of the madness, of the curse. Then it passed. His eyes went back to the door. "Go if you want. I'm staying. I'm finishing this. I'm getting inside." I left, took my horse, rode away, out of that valley, Away from that lake, away from that horror. Looking back once, just once, seeing Garth at the door, hammering, working, trying to widen that crack, trying to force his way to treasure that would never be his, to gold he would never spend, to a fortune measured in his life, in his suffering, in his death. I should have stayed, should have dragged him away, should have tied him to his horse, should have saved him. But I couldn't. Was too afraid, too broken, too traumatized. I ran. Like a coward. Like someone who valued his life more than his friends. Which I suppose I did. Which I suppose makes me the worst kind of a friend. I rode for 3 days, barely stopping, not sleeping, just riding. Away, always away. Until I couldn't see the mountains, couldn't feel that wrongness, couldn't sense that thing watching, waiting, patient. Garth never came home, never followed. He died there. I'm certain of it. Died trying to open that door. Died alone. Died for treasure that wasn't worth his breath, his heartbeat, his future. Maybe the creature got him, came back, took him, ate him, the same way it had eaten Edric, slowly, painfully, consciously. Or maybe he opened the door. Maybe he got inside. Maybe he found nothing, or everything, or his own death waiting in darkness. I'll never know, because I never went back, never checked, never tried to find out. I just left, ran, survived while they died. I returned to Tharbad, alone, broken, without friends, without treasure, without anything except nightmares that wake me screaming, memories that never fade, guilt that never heals. No one believes me. They think I killed them, think I'm lying, think I'm mad. Maybe they're right. Maybe I am mad. Maybe none of it was real. Maybe I did kill them. Maybe. But I remember. The tentacles, the mouth, the teeth, Edric's eyes, his screams, the grinding, the breaking, the horror. I remember all of it. Every detail, every second, every nightmare moment. 3 lives ruined by greed. Edric's, Garth's, mine. All destroyed by a map, by a promise, by treasure that probably didn't exist, that certainly wasn't worth the price. Don't seek the western gate of Moria. Don't trust maps that promise treasure. Don't believe dwarf gold is worth your life, your friends, your soul, because it isn't. Nothing is. No amount of wealth is worth what waits in that lake, what lives in that dark water, what feeds on greedy men who can't accept that some doors stay sealed for good reason. The creature is still there, still waiting, still patient, still hungry, and it will be there forever. Long after I'm dead. Long after everyone forgets. But it never forgets. Never stops. Never dies. It is eternal, and it is waiting for the next fool, the next dreamer, the next greedy man who thinks a map and a promise are enough. They are not, and they will die, just like Edric, just like Garth, just like everyone who seeks treasure guarded by ancient horror. Remember this, please. Remember them. Remember their deaths. Remember their screams, and choose differently. Choose life. Choose safety. Choose anything except that cursed lake, and that sealed door, and that patient horror, because it will wait. For you. For anyone. Forever. And it never loses. If you want to hear more stories from the darkest corners of Middle-earth, please subscribe to Whispers from the Shire. There are countless tales of ordinary people who faced extraordinary horrors, who survived impossible encounters, who lived to deliver warnings. Subscribe and journey with us through the forgotten shadows of Tolkien's world.